Our guest speaker today, Rachel DeWoskin, is an Ann Arbor native who graduated from Community High, where her mother was also a longtime English teacher. Despite her Midwestern roots, Rachel has spent a significant portion of her life abroad, in particular in Asia. In 1994, she went to China to work as a public relations consultant, but later ended up playing a leading role in a Chinese soap opera with a viewership of 600 million people. Rachel's first book, Foreign Babes in Beijing, published in 2005, recounted her experiences during that time. Rachel has also published 3 novels, Repeat After Me, Big Girl Small, and Blind, to much critical acclaim. Although life has thrown many adventures into Rachel's path, through her work as a writer, Rachel has explored even more unexpected, unwritten realms of human experience and shared them with her lucky readers. Since the fall of the school year, we have already been fortunate enough to welcome Rachel to Greenhills as our visiting writer. In that capacity, she has worked with many of you in the classroom and in separate workshops. You have been able to experience firsthand her infectious energy, her zeal for language, and her generous support of young writers. It is with great pleasure, therefore, that we welcome our friend, Rachel DeWoskin, to speak to us today.
Thank you for the lovely introduction and for having me today. Congratulations, you guys, to our winners for your beautiful, impressive writing, and to all of you who are working at making sentences, lines, paragraphs, and pages. Those of you who have come to our Saturday boot camps to write about betrayal, about your births, to adapt your own prose into poetry, to make lines that rhyme and sentences that rock. And to those of you who toil in secret in the bat caves all writers inhabit, writing about your days, writing lyrics, poems, plays, novels, coming to understand human beings a little bit better by shaping our stories. It has been joyful and inspiring to be in residence at Greenhills this year, to watch so many of you think, read, and write in the incredibly energetic and thoughtful way you do here. One of the things you should all be writing are some giant 3D thank you notes to your parents and to the teachers and to each other, to this school community, which is unlike any other I've ever seen. That's your homework for today, okay? And for extra good measure, if you can, make them rhyme. So if you're writing in the margins of your notebooks, or writing notes to your friends, or if you have a spy book, or whole poems, or half poems, or song lyrics, or stories, then you're a writer. You're recording your own vision of the world, which is not only particular to you, but also inimitable. No one else can be you, or see the world the way you do. No one else knows the stories of your family or your life from your perspective. So write that perspective down. Keep a record of the way you see the world right now. Even you, later, a new version of yourself, an older reader, will be interested to remember and understand what you saw when you were you now. And someday, if you keep at it long enough, other people will also read your words. And this will mean you've communicated something important to people you know and don't know. That you've connected across whatever distances and differences might otherwise divide human beings who are not in a room or a family together, sometimes even those who are. Reading connects us across eras, years, miles, and languages. It allows us access to the experiences of those who are far away or unlike us. Reading is a way, in my vision of the world, the only way, other than writing, to inhabit the life of another human being fully and privately. To identify and feel the places where we connect. We have a primal need to read and create stories. James Baldwin wrote beautifully that you think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read. It was books that taught me that the things that tormented me most were the very things that connected me with all the people who were alive, or who had ever been alive. Virginia Woolf put it like this: books split us into 2 parts as we read, because the state of reading consists in the complete elimination of the ego, as well as perpetual union with another mind. Perpetual union with another mind. Let's think about that for a minute. What books do that for you? Do you feel, as I do, like you grew up with Nicola Breedlove from The Bluest Eye? Or like your world is magical because Harry Potter is in it, and you've gotten to read your way into the way he sees and thinks? We've all experienced his adventures together with him, with each other, and with people from all over the planet. And those shared adventures have not only made us all closer to each other, but also more adventurous. My youngest daughter contains in her vocabulary and spirit the lively essence of Min Lee from Grace Lin's book, Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. and a little bit of the toothless wonder and rebellious joy of Junie B. Jones. My older daughter would be a different girl without Raina Telgemeier's sister's smile and drama forever in her own mind, memorized in the marrow of her bones. My girls are better human beings and sisters for having read those Telgemeier panels until Raina's way of seeing the world became a part of theirs. That's what reading does. It simultaneously widens and sharpens our ability to empathize, to feel the world in all its spinning complexity, and to give each other the benefit of humane doubt, to get nuance, which is to say, to ask about people not so much whether what they do is good or bad, but why we do the things we do, and how. How does Malala get so brave? Why does Harriet spy? And how does she recover her dignity and friends after they read her most private and unfriendly thoughts? Why do we forgive and love her, not in spite of her flaws, but because of them? Who are the people who populate your minds, lives, and dreams? Can you take the synthesis of all those characters and your own ideas and make something new? Can you create your own Harriets, Middlees, Katnisses, with selves so sparkly, imperfect, and complicated that other people read them and have their imaginations and lives changed? I know you guys can. Tell your stories. Being able to write is a privilege, and it gives you power. Frederick Douglass wrote about his experience learning to read as a slave. He literally traded bread for lessons and learned the alphabet by writing letters with chalk on the ground. Once he could read, he read anti-slavery documents, and he described that experience like this. I read them over and over with unabated interest. They gave tongue to interesting thoughts of my own soul, which had frequently flashed through my mind and died away for want of utterance. Reading enabled me to utter my thoughts. Thankfully, and in part because of thinkers and writers like Frederick Douglass, we've made some progress since his time. But I think a lot of the world's challenges remain the result of lack of mutual understanding. And it seems to me that solutions to cultural misunderstandings must be cultural too, humanities-based. That we all benefit from as much reading about and writing to each other as possible. If we can access other people's modes of expression, arguments, and experiences, then we can imagine their lives and live our own as fully and freely as possible. In honor of today's winners and all of the writers and readers here at Greenhills, I know and admire many of you. I want to wrap up with a quotation from the shimmeringly brilliant Lin-Manuel Miranda's show, Hamilton, which is currently on Broadway, and soon coming to Chicago. If you want to come and hang out, check out University of Chicago while you're in town. Hamilton's words here for you about writing and what it did for one of our founding fathers, what it can do for any and all of us. When I was 17, a hurricane destroyed my town. I didn't drown. I couldn't seem to die. I wrote my way out. Wrote everything down as far as I could see. I wrote my way out. I looked up and the town had its eyes on me. They passed a plate around. Total strangers moved to kindness by my story. Raised enough for me to book passage on a ship that was New York bound. I wrote my way out of hell. I wrote my way to revolution. I was louder than the crack in the bell. I wrote Eliza love letters until she fell. I wrote about the Constitution and defended it well. And in the face of ignorance and resistance, I wrote financial systems into existence. And when my prayers to God were met with indifference, I picked up a pen. I wrote my own deliverance. Keep picking up your pens. Onward. Thank you.